People often imagine that the higher someone climbs, the clearer the world becomes. But on the 80th floor of a Chicago tower, where the skyline should have stretched like a promise, Genevieve Sterling felt only distance. Distance from the city, from the noise, from the people she was expected to care about, and from the life she lost 6 years ago. She didn't start this night expecting anything extraordinary. She didn't expect answers. And she certainly didn't expect to find the children she'd been searching for half a lifetime. At 6:02 p.m., she stood at her window. The world spread beneath her like a map she no longer recognized. The office behind her was immaculate, quiet, and cold, perfection crafted by someone who needed order to keep from falling apart. Her staff admired this version of her. Polished, decisive, impossible to rattle. None of them knew she barely slept anymore. None of them knew the empty space she carried inside. They thought she worked late because she loved ambition. But the truth was simpler. The later she worked, the less time she had to remember. A soft knock broke the stillness. Genevieve. Sarah stepped in, tablet in hand, coat still half on. The car is waiting downstairs. Security is in position. Lincoln Elementary has set up the VIP entrance exactly as requested. Genevieve nodded, slipping back into the role she had perfected. Good. And the media crew is already on site, Sarah added. Internal team only. Small cameras, discreet angles. Everything will look organic. Organic. Authentic. Words people used when they wanted something engineered to feel real. The Winter Heart Initiative, her latest philanthropic campaign, had been praised all week for its compassion. A billionaire reinvesting in public schools. A leader using her influence for the next generation. It softened her company's public image. It made her appear human, approachable. But she knew tonight's school performance wasn't about the children. It was about perception. About image. About playing the part people needed her to play. She reached for her coat. The office lights dimmed automatically behind her, leaving only the cold blue skyline washing through the glass. Anything you need to review before we go? Sarah asked. No, Genevieve said quietly. Let's finish this. As she followed Sarah to the elevator, a flash of memory rose without permission. 3 faint heartbeats on a monitor, the warmth of a hand she trusted, a whispered promise that everything would be fine, then nothing. A blank space where her life should have continued. She shut the memory down before it could form. Tonight was not for looking back. Across the city, tucked inside a narrow apartment with peeling paint and warm lights, Nate knelt on the worn carpet while 3 little girls spun in circles around him, their angel costumes rustling like soft wings. Hold still, he laughed, catching the middle one, Audrey. Your halo is falling off. It's not a halo, Dad, Clara corrected with 6-year-old seriousness. It's a crown of stars. My mistake, he smiled, adjusting the delicate wire he'd shaped the night before. Eloise, the smallest, tugged at his sleeve. Daddy, what if I forget the words? One look at her trembling lip and big eyes made something inside him tighten. You won't. But what if I do? She whispered. He knelt until they were eye level. If you forget, look at your sisters. They'll help you. And sing from here. He tapped her chest gently. Your heart knows the song better than your memory ever will. She nodded slowly. The apartment smelled faintly of tomato sauce and laundry detergent. Toys stacked in a corner. A pair of tiny shoes left crooked in the hallway. Nothing was perfect, but everything was alive. Loved. Warm in a way money could never counterfeit. Okay, Nate said, clapping once. Shoes, coats, and no stepping on each other's wings. If we leave now, we'll be early. Time to breathe, the girls chimed. He grabbed the canvas bag, extra tights, snacks, and a worn copy of their song. The edges were creased from weeks of practice. In the bath, at bedtime, brushing teeth. A song about a mother they had never met. Nate locked the door. The hallway light buzzed overhead as the girls ran ahead. Hold the rail, he called. Dad, we know, Clara groaned playfully. He smiled to himself. Their world was small, but it was theirs. And he protected it fiercely. If anyone asked, he would say he didn't regret raising them alone. But the truth he never spoke was harsher. He hadn't chosen to raise them alone. He had been forced to. 6 years earlier, Genevieve's life had split into two halves. Before and after the day everything was taken from her. She had been 28, carrying the miracle of 3 beating hearts, deeply in love with a man who saw her, not her legacy. Nate wasn't like the people in her world. His hands calloused, his humor gentle, his dreams simple. He loved her without conditions. Her father saw none of that. He saw only a threat. The Sterlings didn't do ordinary. They didn't blend with the working class. They built empires and protected bloodlines. And when Genevieve refused to terminate the pregnancy, her father acted. He summoned Nate to his office, an office designed to intimidate, and offered him a choice that wasn't a choice at all. Leave, he said, or I will ruin both her future and yours. Nate had argued, pleaded, fought. But her father was a machine with money, reach, and no mercy. Nate realized too late that he wasn't fighting a man. He was fighting a dynasty. The day the triplets were born, Genevieve woke from surgery to an empty bassinet. No babies. No Nate. Only a nurse with carefully neutral eyes murmuring about complications, and a forged note she was never meant to question. Her scream filled the hospital room. Her father never visited. Her life never recovered. For 6 years she searched. Investigators, off-record inquiries, financial traces. Every lead dissolved like smoke. Nate and the girls might as well have been ghosts. Still, she checked her inbox every day. Even tonight, on the way to Lincoln Elementary. The car pulled into a gated side lot. No crowds. No parents. Just order. Exactly as she needed it. Inside, the principal greeted her nervously and escorted her through narrow hallways lined with children's snowman drawings. Every step felt oddly heavy. The auditorium door opened. Warm air and scattered chatter washed over her. Parents with cameras. Teachers with clipboards. Children pacing backstage in costumes. Her seat waited in the private VIP section. Cameras discreet. Angles rehearsed. She sat. Sarah beside her. The lights dimmed. Another school. Another performance. Another night pretending she wasn't breaking inside. She didn't know that minutes earlier, 3 little girls had walked backstage holding hands. She didn't know one of them was whispering, "Daddy says she'll hear us even if she's far away." She didn't know Nate was nearby, adjusting a microphone. The air shifted toward a collision she couldn't feel coming. For the first 20 minutes, everything was ordinary. Songs, applause, dim lights. She smiled when the cameras needed her to. She kept her breathing steady. But then a strange unease curled inside her. Soft but sharp. "Just one more performance," Sarah whispered. "Then we can slip out." The principal stepped to the microphone. "Our final performers call themselves 3 Little Angels," he announced warmly. The name made her chest tighten. They've prepared a song for someone very important to them, a mother they've never met. Something inside her cracked. The curtain opened. 3 little girls stepped into the light, holding hands, dressed in white, tiny hand-sewn wings catching the glow. Same height. Same age. Triplets. Her breath caught. Logic whispered. Coincidence. Instinct screamed. Mine. Then she saw him. Backstage, kneeling beside the smallest girl, adjusting her wings with gentle, familiar hands. Nate. The world dropped out from under her. Her vision blurred. Her heart slammed against her ribs. Memories surged like broken glass. It was him. And those were her daughters. The girls stepped to their microphones. The piano began. Then they sang. "Where are you, Mom? We look for you in the sky. Dad says you're a distant star, but we wish you lived nearby." The first line shattered her. Her hand flew to her mouth as tears spilled down her cheeks. Every word was a blade, carving 6 years of longing into the open. We grew up with bedtime stories of a love we never knew. Nate stood at the edge of the stage, head bowed, wiping his eyes quickly so his daughters wouldn't see. He wasn't the villain. He never had been. Her father had stolen everything. The final line trembled through the room. Mom, if you can hear us, we hope you're safe. We hope you're all right. The applause roared. She didn't hear any of it. She stumbled out of her seat. I need air. Down the hallway. Past lockers. Past teachers. Past everything. She stopped only when her shaking hand met cold metal. Her legs buckled. She slid to the floor, sobbing, raw, real, uncontrollable. She had found them. And they had grown without her. The auditorium door burst open. Nate stepped into the hallway with Eloise in his arms, Audrey and Clara at his side, talking excitedly until they froze. He finally looked up. And saw her. Time stopped. Genevieve rose slowly, tears still fresh. He whispered her name like a wound reopening. Eve. Her voice cracked. Why? Why did you take them from me? Pain tore across his face. He looked at the girls, watching, listening. Girls, he said softly, go wash up. I'll be right here. They hesitated, but obeyed, disappearing into the restroom. When their footsteps faded, Nate and Genevieve stood alone for the first time in 6 years. When the door closed, Nate turned back to Genevieve. His voice cracked before he could form a full sentence. I never wanted to hurt you. Her tears rose again. You disappeared. You disappeared with my children. I know, he said, eyes wet. I know what it looks like, but Eve. Don't, she whispered, voice trembling. Don't you dare tell me this was for me. It was, he said, voice breaking. It always was. And then the truth, the one she had never been allowed to know, spilled into the hallway. Her father's threats. His promise to ruin her life. His threat against the babies. The money he forced into Nate's hands. The impossible choice. The sacrifice Nate made because he believed it would save her. Every word hit her like a blow. She stared at him, tears falling freely. You should have trusted me. I was 24, he said, tears sliding down his cheeks. He was a man who could destroy both of us. I thought I was protecting the family we were building. You broke it, she whispered. I know. They stood there, two people who once shared everything, now shattered by choices neither deserved. Genevieve pressed a hand to her mouth to stop the sob rising in her chest. Yes, for you, she whispered. Every day. Every month. 6 years, Nate. His face crumpled. I'm sorry, he said, barely audible. I didn't know how to come back. I didn't know if you'd hate me. I didn't know if showing up would ruin your life all over again. It ruined me anyway. Their breathing filled the hallway, ragged, uneven, two heartbeats stumbling toward each other after years apart. Before either could speak again, the restroom door creaked open. 3 small faces peeked out. Clara stepped forward first, her eyes narrowed with careful curiosity. She looked at Nate, then at Genevieve, then at the tears still shining on both their faces. Daddy, that lady, she said slowly. She looks like the picture in your wooden box. Nate froze. The air thickened. Genevieve felt her knees almost give way. The moment he had feared and prayed for had arrived sooner than he was ready for. Nate knelt to meet his daughter's eyes. Girls, he said gently, voice trembling. You sang with your whole hearts tonight. And sometimes when you do that, something incredible happens. He looked at Genevieve. He looked at the children. Then he spoke the words that changed their lives forever. This isn't a rich lady. This isn't a stranger. This is your mother. Silence. 3 pairs of eyes widened. Confusion first, then wonder, then something deeper. Eloise stepped closer, reaching out with a small trembling hand. "Are you really our mom?" Genevieve fell to her knees, tears streaming openly, her voice breaking on every syllable. "Yes," she whispered. "I'm your mom. And I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I wasn't with you. I never stopped looking for you. I never stopped loving you." The girls moved slowly at first, tentative, unsure, like approaching something fragile and precious. Then all at once, they leaned into her, arms wrapping around her neck, soft sobs muffled against her shoulders. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't cinematic. It was trembling, cautious, real. A reunion built from broken pieces. Nate wiped his face silently, watching the four people he loved most finally occupy the same moment. For the first time in 6 years, they weren't separated by lies or fear. They were together. The hallway outside the auditorium felt like a world suspended. On one side of that thin line, Genevieve had walked in as a polished benefactor, admired, respected, untouchable. On the other, she now knelt on a scuffed school floor with 3 little girls wrapped around her, shaking with the weight of 6 missing years. Their arms were small. Their bodies warm and solid. The feel of them broke something open in her that had been frozen for far too long. "I'm here," she whispered. "I'm here. I am so sorry I wasn't with you." Clara pulled back just enough to look up. Did you not want us?" The question sliced her open. "Never," Genevieve said fiercely. "I wanted you from the moment I knew you existed. Someone took you away from me. I've been looking for you ever since." Audrey frowned, thinking hard. "Daddy said moms are complicated." Nate winced. "Your dad was trying to protect you," Genevieve said gently. "And me. The person who did this wasn't him. It was my father." Eloise sniffled. "Are you going to go away again?" "No," Genevieve said, the word coming out like a vow. "Not if I have any say in it. I've lost too much time already. If you'll let me. I want to stay. I want to be your mom." The girls didn't answer with words. They hugged her tighter. Not complete trust, not yet, but the beginning of something that could grow into it. Eventually the world intruded, chairs scraping, parents calling, the hum of fluorescent lights. Nate cleared his throat. "We should probably get out of this hallway before someone accuses us of blocking fire safety regulations." The girls giggled softly, breaking the tension. "Do you have to go back inside?" Genevieve asked. Nate shook his head. "If we go back now, we'll get mobbed by well-meaning people with questions I don't know how to answer yet." He hesitated, then said, "There's a diner 2 blocks from here. They don't mind kids in costumes or adults having emotional breakdowns over fries." "A diner?" she asked, half laughing, half crying. "You got a better suggestion?" She didn't. "No," she whispered. "I don't." He turned to the girls. "Angels, you up for fries?" "Yes," they chorused. Genevieve texted her assistant a simple message. "Leaving early. I'll explain tomorrow." No details. No explanations. There were no words for this. The diner sat on the corner under a flickering neon sign. It smelled like coffee, sugar, and memories. The girls rushed inside, wings askew. Genevieve followed, feeling strangely out of place until Eloise reached back and took her hand. Just like that, she belonged. They slid into a booth. The girls ordered fries and nighttime pancakes. The server brought crayons. The girls drew pictures of stars, hearts, and a woman holding 3 tiny hands. Genevieve watched in stunned awe. Nate finally spoke. "You should hear it from me. All of it." And he told her. About the check. The threat. Her father's cruelty. The impossible choice that shattered their lives. Genevieve listened, breath shaking, fists clenched, tears burning her eyes. "You didn't protect me," she said quietly. "You broke me." "I know," he whispered. "And you broke them." "I know." I didn't need protection, Nate. I needed a family. I needed you. I needed them. I would have fought him. I would have run with you. I would have started over anywhere. I just needed us. He closed his eyes. I didn't believe I was worth leaving everything for. So I chose for you. And it was the worst mistake of my life. Silence. Then Clara slid her small hand over her mother's. Are you mad at Daddy? Yes, Genevieve said honestly. Very. But I don't hate him. He raised you. He kept you safe. Without him, I might have lost you forever. Clara nodded thoughtfully. Daddy says grown-ups can feel more than one thing at a time. Nate let out a weak laugh. The food arrived. The girls ate. Questions flowed. Favorite colors, dogs or cats, what she did all day. Slowly, the ache eased. By the time their plates were empty, the girls were asleep, one leaning on Genevieve's shoulder, one in her lap, one curled against her arm. She held them like something holy. Nate watched, awe in his eyes. You're good with them. They're my daughters, she whispered. It feels natural. He hesitated. Do you want to be in their lives? In a big way? She looked down at them. 3 soft breaths trusting her enough to sleep. More than anything. Then we'll figure it out, he said. Together. No more disappearing. No more decisions made alone. Agreed, she whispered. Outside, snow began to fall. She slipped off her expensive coat and tucked it around the girls like a blanket. Her fingers brushed Nate's. He didn't move away. He covered her hand with his. They sat like that, quiet, unsure, hopeful. A billionaire. A man who once thought he wasn't enough. 3 daughters between them. A future with no map. But for the first time since everything fell apart, they weren't facing it alone. Months later, articles would praise the woman on the 80th floor. Her scholarships, her public school renovations, her strategic brilliance. But none of them would mention the night she sat in a cheap vinyl booth under flickering neon lights with 3 sleeping daughters in her arms. None of them would know that somewhere between cold fries and bad coffee, Genevieve Sterling finally understood the truth. Her greatest fortune wasn't her company. It wasn't her skyline. It was 3 small angels who had sung for a mother they thought they'd lost. And found her right beside them, heart wide open at last.